Principal sir, should we start?
Vinopol sir, shall we?
Oh yes, we can.
All right. So, resource person for the day, Professor Binu Paul. Principal, Dr. Sridhara Shetty. Vice Principal, Dr. Lichi Santosh. And Professor Sandesha Shetty. Colleagues and dear participants. Good morning and welcome to the fourth day of the 10-day virtual workshop on research methodology in social sciences, organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Bansanga's SM Shetty College of Science, Commerce and Management Studies, in association with Indian Council of Social Science Research. Yesterday, we have learned about hypothesis testing, sampling design, sampling techniques, and sample size determination. Today, in the first session, we will be looking at analytics in social sciences and social network activities. I take this opportunity to introduce the resource person for this session, Professor Binu Paul, Associate Dean, Center of Human Resource Management and Labor Relations, School of Management and Labor Studies, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. Sir is a PhD holder in economics from Department of Humanities and Social Science, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. Sir has been associated with the Tata Institute of Social Sciences since 2007. He has also worked with Tapni Institute, Manipal. Sir has over 50 research papers published in highly acclaimed international journals. I would just like to read out a few topics. Impact of COVID-19 on household economy of India. Another interesting one is Indian volleyball from local context to global realities in sports studies in India. Can India's higher education improve through better management of human resources? A comparative study of India and the United States, published in Indian Journal of Human Development. Emerging dynamics of informal employment, World Economic Journal. Sir has also authored and co-authored many books and reports, national reports, some of them being Employment in Unorganized Sector in Navi Mumbai, a study on socio-economic conditions of home-based workers in textile and garment industry, Indian Labour Market Report 2009-10, and also Indian Labour Market Report 2008. Sir has written on role of ICT in Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Act. Sir has over 20 working papers. Again, some of them I would like to just mention here. Indian Labour Market in Transition, Setting the Tone of Employability, Jobless Growth to Inclusive Growth, co-authored paper, Information Model in Narega, and Working and Living Conditions of Women Domestic Workers, Evidences from Mumbai. Sir has been integral part of writing the Kerala Skill Report, and he has also been a part of NUSSD, that is National University Student Skill Development Program under the Ministry of Skill Development, Government of India. We are truly honored to have you here with us today, sir, and I welcome you to take over the session.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Kalpana and Dr. Liji, of course, respected Principal Dr. Shetty. Dear colleagues, first of all, good morning. I'm sure this workshop is going to contribute to your learning. Of course, it's going to be a mutual process. Not only participants who are here going to learn, of course, resource persons are going to profoundly learn from it. It's a mutual process. And today's session, for me, as it was decided earlier, it was a 3 hours session, I think 3 hours exactly, which includes analytics and social network analysis. Two of the areas I'm working on, thinking it's contributing a lot to multidisciplinary research, these two aspects. But unfortunately, a meeting, in an emergency meeting, is scheduled for me after 11:30. That's one reason for the abrupt change that occurred. I'm sorry for that. Now, the session which is going to ensue is on the scope of analytics. I would like to demonstrate to you a few cases. I hope all of you have computer. Some of you, I don't know how many of you access through computer, laptop or something. Then we can do it along. Let's do it together. That's one scheme of thinking I would like to propose. Let's do it together so we can explore the possibility. Now, first of all, let me tell you, is analytics and statistics are these two streams same? Is analytics identical with statistics? It's very tough. I would like you to refer to an interesting statistician. His name is Spiegel-Halter. I will show his caricature. It's there in the website. Spiegel-Halter. I will post his name in the chat box. You can see Spiegel. I'm not right. I'm not sure whether spelling is right, but Spiegel-Halter. Spiegel-Halter is one of the statistics professors in Cambridge University, but who I admire a lot, because one reason is he talks to you about the art of statistics. That's where I think analytics comes, because analytics is not like you give results, but you should be able to communicate that result to people. The problem with conventional statistics is it doesn't care about who's going to use it. You publish an article, will people use it? So analytics covers cleaning the data, understanding the structure of data, making a product out of it, visualize it. So it's not only for journal studies, publishing it in a journal. It also caters to multiple needs. You communicate things to stakeholders who are not really interested in scientific research, but they are also part of your user group when you do a research. So I would like to showcase an example first. There are plenty of data sets available online. So we are going to use one data set. So I'll take you through that data set. In this group, how many of you heard about, there is a data set. Let me introduce to you. How many of you heard about Penn World Data? PENN, Penn World Data, which contains, let me caricature it appropriately. Penn World Data contains data of 180 countries, plus 180 plus countries. It includes data of Bhutan. It includes data of big country like India. It also includes countries like, what do you call it, Uruguay, or anywhere you take, Latin America, or North America, South America, North America, or Oceania, Eurasia, Europe, Central Asia, Asia Minor, Middle East, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, or the larger continuum called Middle East, East Asia, Southeast Asia. It's very exhaustive. Not only that, so it captures more than 180 countries. But now the next question comes is, well, how long it covers? What is the length and breadth? The breadth, I told you, the breadth. You're like, we are like carpenter. We take a measurement. What is the breadth? Breadth is 180 plus countries, capturing length and what I say, North America or South America to East Asia, extreme East Asia, Far East Asia. There's no word called extreme East Asia, Far East Asia, Far East to South America. That is the breadth. Length is in terms of years. It captures data from 1950 onwards. But that needs a lot of cleaning. How you clean it? Why does it require cleaning? Is a question. Ideally, a good carpenter should know while creating a table or chair, you should be precise about measurements. You can't compromise on precision. Now, when you say 180 countries, and we will go to the data, I think, but we need to have some stories before. Any of you may share your view. Why we need something called cleaning? We could can we take it as it is? I told you the length and breadth. Once again, 180 plus countries, and that is the breadth. That many countries are there. It's called cross section. Cross section means there is a sample survey happening. So there is Chandrasekhar here, there is Sandesha here, many of you, I think, Hina here, Prajakta here, Bhavana here, Sri Lakshmi, I think many of you are here. Across you, data is taken. Well, that is cross-sectional. That is called breadth. Here, the database we are going to take up is Penn World data. For Penn World data, there are 180 plus countries. Now, the length, let me repeat, length is from 1950 onwards. Okay, it's a straightforward, cool data set, but do you need to clean? I say there is a need for cleaning. Can we think about why we need to clean up? Any ideas?
Could it be because of repetition and redundancy?
Repetition, of course, it's going to repeat, right? You have multiple years, 1950 onwards. So some of the history will repeat. And I fully agree with you. There is a legacy factor. When it comes to concerning India, history repeats for some time. History won't be the same always. But then why we need to clean? When you see, look at different countries, do we need to make it more sensible? Because the problem with data is kind of mixture of noise and voice. That's another peculiarity of data. Noise means there are something which can disrupt you. You want to explain something, but you can be taken for a ride. It's like Maya. Where you move, you don't know. What you appreciate, is that real appreciation? You don't know. That's where the cleaning comes. But the question is why we need to clean.
So there are some answers in the chat.
Oh,
are
yes,
you able to see that?
Yeah, chat. Yes, I can. Incorrect or maybe incomplete or inconsistent. But these are very abstract words, right? Accuracy, filtered data. I told you, we are a carpenter here. You tell carpenter something abstract, then you won't get to your table or chair. Researchers can be abstract, but you should be like a carpenter. You should be mindful of things. Why we need cleaning? Authentic means, thank you, Janita. Authenticity is a question, agree, but here that part is done. Information collected is right. There's no issue about it. That is a critical issue, right? If there is some kind of wrong reporting, that's what you said, right? Imagine that is done. That part is done. Like for a carpenter, there is a problem with carpenter, right? If carpenter is supplied a soft wood which may not last, you can't blame the carpenter, right? Carpenter assumes wood is of some quality. If quality is compromised, can we hold carpenter accountable? No, you can't hold, because carpenter transforms the wood given to him or her to a piece of furniture. So validity, everything is taken care. That's not an issue. Of course, it could be an issue later. All this reliability, validity, forget. We are not even concerned about it at this moment. We are talking about I mean, is there a need for cleaning? Because validity, reliability, I fully agree. These are concerns post-analysis. Many of these issues would arise after the analysis done, performed. Here we are talking about prior to the analysis. Categorize, these are all analytical issues. That's a very, very primary issue. Now, I can give you, I think you have some ideas emerging. Many of you responded. Thank you. I can give some example. It can really revise your thinking process. You might have heard BRICS, right? The BRICS. What is BRICS? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That formation is very peculiar because these are the countries with countries having higher population, higher in region, big regions, big population. But then, are they same? Are they comparable? So look at South Africa and India. Can we readily accept these two countries as comparable in all respects? Although you have history, what do you call it, historic data. What is the what problem we encounter while comparing South Africa and India, or Russia and India, or China and India? Can we go ahead just comparing? We see the data and compare. That's a problem. It's called mindless analytics. That's like you endow a flower bouquet to a ape. Ape is nice. They have good intuition, but they are not like human, right? In turning or in handling the flower bouquet. Our institutions, human, the advantage is many things are taught by our institutions. What to do with a flower bouquet is taught to us. Garlanding or greeting the people. These are the things taught by institutions. Apes also have social institutions, but they are not, those institutions and learnings emerging from those institutions are different. It's different. What is the problem with South Africa and India? Of course, you may have in your thoughts. Let me point it out straight. One of the issues is South Africa had something called apartheid until recent times. Very late compared to Indian independence. South Africa gained full autonomy after a long wait. There was apartheid. Nelson Mandela was in jail. So that's the problem. When you have the data, but we have to see whether pre-apartheid, after apartheid, are they same? So that's what cleaning I call for. The same with Russia. Russia was USSR. Prior to 1990, Russia was USSR. Now it is called Russia. USSR was kind of units brought together through a system. But many of the units became autonomous. So then there is Russia. All those issues are there in the history. You have to be very careful. So that's where I think this happens to every data. You have to be very careful while handling the data. You need cleaning. Now we go to the data straight. So I'm just saying we have the data. We have the problem of cleaning. And also it's very crucial to make use of the data. So I am going to show you how would you really look into data, and not just for the sake of statistics, but also for some purpose, some platforms like analytical platforms. One platform which we are going to use is Tableau Public. It can be downloaded free of cost. Maybe you can try it when you get time. Some of you may be using it, I'm sure. So I'm going to show you what are the opportunities that are provided by this platform. So two things we would like to get done. One is how to get free data, which is very comprehensive. That is Penworld data. How do you make some products out of it? By using platforms like Tableau and so on. I think if we have not, the time is limited. So we have to optimize our discussion based on it. So if you have laptop, please work along with me. Now I share the screen. Hope you can see, right?
Yes,
There
sir.
is, so I'm typing, just see what I'm typing. Penworld data. Is this clear? Penworld data?
Yes.
See, this is just, what do you call it? One among many data sets that exist. I mean, just a drop in the ocean of information. You can see many such data sets. So for example, World Bank maintains a large repository of micro data sets. Government of India also maintains. Government of India micro data. I'll show you that. There are many, plenty. There is no shortage. There is no. This is just a case in point. Likewise, you get many. There is no end to it. But can someone always rely on this data set? These data sets have a lot of problems also. Let me tell you that. They contain very limited information. Then the problem is some of the research, when you, in some of the research, you depend too much on this data. Probably you have to tailor make all your research to the data set. That is its problem. So research is much bigger than that. But anyway, my purpose is to, objective is to show you, expose you to some of the available data sets. So one case study that's with us is Penworld data, which is easy to procure. Just type over here to get it, right? And Penworld data gets updated every year. So that's why these versions come. This is the latest version. So let's click here. This is maintained by Groningen University. That is a university based in Netherlands. It's a Dutch university. They are into this business. There are many data sets. Say, for example, another data set is a global value chain. Then on historic national accounts, many of them. Structural change data set. So broadly, these are the data sets that are available. Now, Penworld data. Penworld data, whenever you use, you have to cite it. This is the citation. So either it is contained in two forms. Three forms actually. Let me tell you about it. One is Excel. You can see it Excel. One is Stata. I'm sure not all of you have Stata, right? Otherwise, I would have used Stata. But since Excel is common, right? All of you have a common Excel sheet or online data access tools also there. Plus, there is a library in R software, which I use on Penworld, PWT, but here, today we are not going to show it. So the different ways you can procure this data. So since Excel is common, everyone here may have it, Excel. So we opt this. Have you touched this? Yes, no? Could you get it? Now it's
Yes.
getting downloaded, right? It's getting, so I'm downloading. I'm also opening it. Yeah, now what I'll do, I'll stop share and migrate to this. So you can see the data set, right? Yes, no? You can see?
Yes, sir.
Let me save it. Now you have the data, right? What all you see in the data? The first is, there are 3 sheets in the data. One is its information. That means whenever you use this data set, you have to give the reference. This is the reference. Because these are the people who worked on it, developed it. They prefer you to acknowledge. As per IPR, intellectual property regime, we are accountable to it. We should be very ethical, right? Because we got this data, we should acknowledge. Now, this is the legend, you can see, right? Definitions. So there is first layer, identifier variable. So it has country code, then country name, currency, year. So these are the identifiers. Then GDP, employment, and population. So expenditure side, GDP is measured from different angles. One is expenditure, one is output. Then population here, number of persons engaged. Real means it is sanitized against inflation. Inflation is removed. There's no inflation in it. If there is inflation featuring here, it's called nominal GDP. So inflation is removed, or current it's called. Employment, EMP means number of people engaged in millions. Average hours of work. Human capital. Then you can see the second layer, current price. Current price means inflation is not taken care. It's inclusive of inflation. But we want to be secure, right? We want our data to be insulated against inflation. So let's avoid this current part. Then there is national accounts based variables like real GDP, real consumption, domestic absorption, capital. Capital means value of plant and machinery. Capital service at constant prices. Service means mostly software and other intangibles. Total factor productivity. It means, see, when you look at a particular economy, growth is either due to resources deployed or due to factors other than resources. So, for example, learning, innovation. So, total factor productivity captures that part. Then labor share. Labor share means the money, monetary value of money that goes into wage out of GDP. Internal rate of, that's not very crucial for us. Similarly, exchange rate, we will not look into that part. So there's so much data, you can see it, right? Now coming to the data. Can you see it, data? Can you see this?
Yes.
You can see it, right? This has many countries, nearly 180 countries. You can see it. Just touch out there. This many countries are there. This many countries. So you can filter out India if you want, but we will do it later. But let's keep data as it is. You can see it, right? Data. So all the variables are here. Yeah. So what really comes here? You take one country, Aruba. Aruba is a country. You have data from 1950 to 2090. That many years. For India, for example, you may have this much data. Look at India. This much data you will get. So for all, not for all countries you will get this long data. For many countries you have this data. So that cleaning is very crucial anyway. So you want to restrict to India, then select all. Most of us know it, this part. How we use it in Excel. Yeah, you get India, right? You get India. So for this many years, from 1950 to 2090 years, you get the data. Now we have some core questions about it. In India, what's the relation between GDP and output and employment? That's a very interesting question. Will employment grow according to GDP? Right. So that's an interesting hypothesis, right? What do you think? What do you teach people? Do you think will employment grow according to GDP? More the GDP, will you get employment? That's a crucial question, right? It's an important question, right? As economy expands, are we going to generate more jobs? If economy expands by 1 unit, what would be the volume of increase in jobs? So these are all very, very foundational. Some of these hypotheses emerge, and we can really look into it. So how would we do it? So first, I think instead of prior to moving, prior to applying some visualization Tableau, let's stay over here in Excel itself. How do you examine the hypothesis? And I would like to have your responses. You can come up with responses. We have a question here. There's a fundamental question here. What is the question? Let me put that question up front to you. This is the question. This is the question. Does job expand? Does jobs increase? Does job or do does job or does job or do jobs is also fine. Do jobs expand? When economy expands or when economy grows? That's a question. So that's a research question. Now, to answer it, see, this is a big question. There are many issues. you have to ask people. People may have experiences, but here there's a data set. Pertinent to data set, how can we approach this question? Do we have data on jobs? That's the first question. If yes, for how many years? For how long? Do we have data on economic growth? If yes, for how long? Now let's look at the legend. Do we have from this? Let's look at this. Do we have data on people, jobs? Do we have data on jobs here? Do we have data on jobs? So this is the data on jobs, right? Number of persons engaged. And do we have data on economic growth? One of the data which we can depend on is real GDP. So we can look at GDP as a factor. So we have GDP. We have number of persons and GDP. Right. So let's see. Let's put this data. We have employment. This is for India. We choose this. This is employment. And then we can choose the other data, which is with us. That is RGDPNA. You can see here. It is GDP. Let's choose this data. So we choose this. We have two, right? You can see it here, right? And then we have another data over the years. This is about India. Let's see all the years. Here the years. So we have three pieces of information here. Year, employment, RGD, PNA, that is GDP. It's crucial, first of all, it's crucial for us to understand what's going to be the behavior. over the years for employment and output separately. So first, let's do this. We have chosen these two data, year and employment. And we insert a figure here. This is what we get, right? So this is about employment. So over the years, employment has been growing. But now let's see the behavior of GDP. So let's plot the second data, insert. Now it's to you. Please help me. I think your non-participation makes my situation very vulnerable. Is there a story emerging from this? What is this? This is employment. This is employment. Let me write it, employment. This is the GDP, real GDP. Now, my question is, there are two systems here over the years. One is employment, another is GDP. Can we say they behave same way? What story emerges from here? Yeah. Now I think you can see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The font, okay. I'll expand a little more. Now you can see. What do we observe here? Do we see same behavior? Yeah. What are the observations? What do we observe from this data?
There is no steady growth in employment, but if you look into real GDP, it is going up steadily.
There is a steady growth for GDP, right? Real GDP. That's right.
Suhasti has also written something.
Yeah, but do we see same behavior originating or shown by these two things? What are the core differences? Of course, I agree with you. In employment, there's no steady growth, but GDP, there is a steady growth. But what do we infer from it? What do we conclude from it? Or is there a difference across history when it comes to employment or concerning GDP? Do we see a crucial difference?
So employment, I'll try to explain. We can see that although GDP is growing, but employment is not growing as per the growth of GDP.
Yeah, particularly after 2000, right?
Yes.
This is more evidently post 2000
yes.
or 2010.
2010.
There is a sharp increase in GDP, you can see. Why we say sharp? See the delta here.
Yes.
2010 to 2020. For one decade, this much change has happened. One might argue it's because of inflation, but we have removed inflation. We should keep that in mind.
Yes, because
what
it's
is
real
the
GDP.
yeah?
Yes.
What is the scenario in job? What is the scenario?
Stagnant there, no, sir?
It's almost
yes.
almost stagnant, right? So now let's do this. So this is over the years what's happening to employment, and over the years what's happening to GDP. Now let's, without bringing the year explicitly, implicitly it's there. Let's create third plot. That's between employment and GDP. So let's do this. Insert. We'll do a, yeah. You can see it, right?
Yes, yes. I request the host to unmute Amitabh Avinash because he want to respond.
Yeah. So you can see it here, right? So here, let me just a second. Let me edit this graph. Then it's more clear. Sorry.
Amitabh Avinash can unmute himself.
This is GDP. This is employment. Employment in millions. Huh? Employment. What do we observe here? I hope you can see it, right? The third map.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do we observe here? What is the story emerging? Therefore,
We can see only one map of GDP. The previous one is not seen.
yeah. No, the GDP employment relation. Yeah, you can see it
Yes.
here, right?
Yes, yes.
And let me
yes.
edit it once
Yes,
again.
yes.
Let me
can
edit
see.
it.
Yeah.
Format axis. I'll just put it from 100.
No, now I got it. You have put GDP on y-axis and employment
Yeah,
on
yeah,
x-axis.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah. Now you got it, right?
Now, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So this map shows that as GDP is increasing and there is an increase in employment too,
Ah,
isn't it?
it is, but
there is a direct relationship, but again, it's a shaky, you can see it's not,
so
it's not
you
linear,
can see,
it is non-linear kind of a relation.
You can see, you hear what happens?
Yes.
For a big change, you
Big
see, I think
change.
just a second. Let me just draw. I'll draw a line. Just a second. Yeah. You see the slope here. What is the meaning of this slope? This is delta GDP.
Delta, yes.
This is delta employment.
Yes.
What is the meaning here?
Meaning is GDP is growing faster than the employment.
When
you can see if you measure the change.
That means economy expands hugely.
But
employment increases a bit.
A bit, gradually, yeah, very less.
That's the meaning, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we get, right? So now there is an issue here. You ask a question. From 1% of change in employment, or 1% of change in GDP, supposing GDP increases by 1 unit, what would be the increase in employment? How can we answer that? Now let me remove all the figures. You got my question, right? For one unit increase or a proportionate change, let's say GDP grows by 1 unit, that is a proportionate change. Employment raises by 1% or X percentage. How will we find out? Is there a trick? You can do it by converting that to logarithm. So we find out ln employment, a logarithm of employment, log. employment. Log GDP. Log GDP. How to find it? Can we do it in Excel? Any idea? Can we do it in Excel?
So,
Can we do it in Excel? How will we do it in Excel? Okay, fine. Let me share the screen. So let's do it. Log function, yes. So let's apply the log function. So what to do that? What to do for that? There is a log function equals natural log we take. There are 10 base logs or natural base log. We take natural log and then D2. Then we can paste it. This is what we get, right? 2 decimals we keep. And this is logarithm of employment. Same way we can find out logarithm of GDP. ln. Again, you can get it, right? You can see it, right? Yeah. So log employment and log GDP. Let's plot it now. You're going to plot it. Insert. Can you see it? Now, this format is not good for us. So we change the format, go to quick layout, and okay, this is not good for us. I think we'll take this. Axis title. What is axis title here? It is log I think yeah. Oh, employment comes first. Okay. Yeah. Let's plot it. Just a second. Yeah, if this is employment. Yes, fine. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So here, employment. Log GDP. And now we have to prune this. We can format axis. Minimum, let's make it 3. Or even 4 is fine. Here, we can make it 10. Okay. You can see it, right? So the advantage of log model is it prunes extremes and it gives you a reasonably good story. Otherwise, you show what was shown was sharp turns, which is tough to interpret. But then the moment you have log, it's closer to interpreting what would be the proportionate change. So in order to do that, we can run a regression. But then the problem here is there's a problem with Excel sheet. What is portrayed on x-axis, horizontal axis, is taken as an independent variable. And what is on the vertical axis, here GDP is taken or is understood as independent variable. It should be the other way. So GDP should come here, employment should go out there. We can change the axis. There itself, we could have changed the axis, but I'm just taking a shortcut here. Let's do it here. And you have to change values. It is D2. Yeah, you have all the values. Again, let's plot it. There's some problem. Yeah. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's getting filled. Yeah. Yeah. Now let's fit it. So let's insert it. Now we get, right? Now we click on the right axis here, add trend line. And then we get a linear curve. Then display R square, display equation. You can see an equation here, right? Equation we can write log employment and this is log GDP. So what it says is if GDP expands by 100, expansion in employment is going to be 39 during over the period 1950 to 2090. So that's what Excel tells us. But Excel has a lot of limitations, by the way. And that's where visualization packages like Tableau comes to your aid. More creatively, you can handle this issue. So I delete it now. How we handle Excel sheet more effectively. That's very crucial here. So I change all the alterations we made. So for example, we filtered the data, filter has been removed and data remain as it is. We don't even save it. Now we you have to download something called Tableau Public. I'm sure most of you may not have Tableau Public, but you can download it. So I'll show you it in Google first. Have any of you used? Have some of you used Tableau before? Do you teach Tableau to your student, which is very crucial for contemporary times to get job and analytics? So Tableau, it's called Tableau. Tableau public. You can download Tableau public. You can see it, right? It's free of cost. So I opened Tableau now. I showed you what is Tableau, how to get the Tableau. Now, let me open it, Tableau. It's getting open. Then I'll share the screen. Tableau is open now. So, have you heard of Tableau or have you worked with Tableau before? Yes, Ahmed. Ahmed, you would like to say something? Now I'll share the screen. Can you see it, right? Yeah. Now it is shared, right? Now you can see it's a first question is connection. It accepts different types of files. Microsoft Excel, text file, JSON, PDF, spatial file, GIS type, statistical files. I hope you got this, right? Now, I'm clicking here because ours is an Excel sheet, right? And we have this file, PWT100. That's what we just downloaded. I just open it. Now, can you see it? Now you have three sheets coming over here, right? Data, info, legend. Which one should we choose? Is it legend, info, or data? That's my first question. What is legend? Legend is definition. Information is citation. Data is the information what we need. What should we choose? So we have to choose data here. Can you see it? We have all the data here. So we have the data here. We have got the data. We have absorbed the data here. Now we go to worksheet. So we have, see the structure. There is source data. We have sourced the data. All the data, right, which we saw in Excel. So 52 fields, 12,810 rows. So that much data we have. So we have data source and sheet. Go to sheet 1. I hope you can see it, right? Yes. Now we want to see the question we raised, right? The same question you can see. So you can see two layers of data here. One is here. Second is measures. This is called dimensions. These are dimensional data. This is country. Country is a dimensional data because it's categories with a geographical meaning. That's why you see a globe here, right? You can see a globe here. Globe means it's a spatial data. There's a country represented here. That's what it means. and currency unit. The country code is also spatial data. So when I touch here, you can see here, right hand side, there's a map coming. That means it's a spatial data. There is a currency, then there is a data, currency unit, which is a categorical data. That's why it's ABC is given. So then ICIG, IIRR, these are not categorical. I think it's erroneously given. This is an error. So that we can change the data if we want. Say for example, but we don't deal with them. So leave it. We are not going to analyze them. So we can afford to let them here, let them be here, but we are not going to touch it because it's not our variable. The information we look for is different. So it doesn't matter, although it's not really ABC. ABC means categorical. So this is geographical data. ABC means something like gender. This category, the other category. These are all ratio scale variables. Ratio means there's a continuous measurement. This is average hours of work, or here it's labor share, variety of data you get. You can see it. So we are interested in employment. Let's see, let's pick that data. So that's called measure. So let's put employment. Let's see employment. Where is employment? Here the employment. There's employment here, but nothing comes here, right? Because rows we haven't yet filled. So our fundamental question is, what is the relation between employment and GDP? So we use another variable, RGDPNA. Still we haven't got anything, right? There's nothing coming here. The reason is we haven't yet filled here. There's something called detailing. We have to detail them out. We have to detail. We have to provide the detail. So for example, EMP and RGDPNA. Just a second. Yeah. Now let's take, before coming to it, let's take employment. And then we can see, I think that's one, before coming to the relation, I thought it would be good to segregate by geographies. So we can do that actually by bringing country here. That's one opportunity. You can see it here, right? But look at this. Do you think it's a right data? Is this a way of doing? Is there something wrong with this data? What we have done? You see this. It says that you look at India. Here, what it says is this many million. It's in millions, right? 21,800. How many? What is the workforce in India? What is the labor market size in India? Employment. How many people are employed in India? Any idea? How many people are employed in India? How many jobs are in India? How many people have jobs in India? Any idea? It's nearly, it's more than 500 million. That's the latest approximately 500 million data, 500 million units, persons, head count. But what we have the number here, look at this. Let's see this number. Can you see this number? Here it's saying India, if you see, 21,806. Should we believe this? What must be the mistake here? What must have gone wrong? There's something gone wrong? In fact, this is a panel data. Panel means we have multiple years and multiple countries. And the map can't work for multiple years, right? It can, but you have to have separate map. And map is a cross-sectional data. Otherwise, you have to have very interactive automated maps. What do you call it? For every years, map changes its color. It keeps on moving, like a rotating map. This is not a rotating map. It's not an interactive map. It is very, very stagnant. So that means you have to control for years, right? You haven't controlled years. So you can control here. Go to filter. You can put it as a filter. You can. So this is a filter, the show filter. And edit filter. This has the data from 1950 to 2019. But we want it only for 2019. Okay. Now you see, is there a change? There's a change, right? Now, employment in India 2019 is 500 million. In China, 800 million. Likewise, you can see the change. So the advantage of this way of capturing is interesting. You can convert this into a dashboard. So I'm creating a dashboard. Drag sheet 1 here. This is called dashboard. And it looks like this. So you make a product out of it. That's advantage. You can see it, right? You can edit it. Or you can screen print or you can save it in your Tableau account. So you can choose according to your liking. You can filter it out. So that's a story of analytics, a simple story of analytics. I think we can explore more, but two things we did today. One is to get a public data, Penn World data, explore the data set. It's a panel data. Panel data means multiple years, multiple countries. Then we extracted what do you call it? We could even extract data for India. Then the second step, what we did, we uploaded Excel sheet in Tableau. We could have done more, but then owing to the paucity of time, I just showed you how to read it and then visualize it and convert that into a product, or how to make a dashboard. Dashboard is a product, information product, data product. We could explore more, but I hope this is what we mean by visualization is. Of course, you can arrive at a lot of data, or arrive at statistics and interpretation. I'll show you that, but then I just want to have an interface before moving to the next stage, next phase. So I solicit your views. Would you like to share your reflections? What have you learned from this, or is it a passive participation, or have you got something out of it? Let me know. This is a possibility, because whatever resources we used, these are all free of cost. We could use it and share with students. And also it would be useful for research, because you can easily create a map, you can alter it, many things you could do. Any reflections, any views before moving to the next step? But I think only 10 minutes left now.
Any questions from the participants? You can either unmute and ask or put it in the chat box. We'll take it up quickly. Rashmi Pillai madam has written new concept heard for the first time.
Okay.
Personally, for me also, I've heard this for the first time and like totally floored by how much is available and that we don't know about it.
I guess it's important to try with that. Try in the sense, it's important to engage with it. Then we learn. One shot is not enough to do it.
Yes.
But our advantage is this is the happening thing now. If we use it in teaching, I'm sure students will gain immensely. Also, you can really revolutionize your research product.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I just showed you, right, how to project it in a map. The
Right.
same way you can do it for India if you have state-wise data, because the moment Tableau reads it as geographical data, it will plot accordingly. Imagine you have multiple years data for states, then you get an evolutionary feature, right? How things evolve. Of course, there is more to do. Plus, you can make an information product out of it.
Right.
And many people get patents, etc. for this.
Oh.
Even in social science, you can earn patent. It's called data curation. So people, not only scientists get it, you can also. This could be done in another package, which is called R-Shiny. But R-Shiny, the disadvantage is you have to know a little bit of programming skills, or you have to have programming skills or developer skills. But
Okay.
Tableau doesn't require that. Tableau is easy to operate, and plus you have Tableau public. And also there is Tableau business version, which could be purchased by universities, etc. But for an individual Tableau public could be. But then the output I showed you, the map, can't be saved like Control S and etc. That's not the way. Either you can take a screenshot, you can and clip it according to your needs, or you can save it. For example, you can save it virtually. Virtually means you get an account. If you provided you have a Google account, Gmail account or something, then you can also post it as a what do you call it, almost like a website, and you can keep on updating this data as you need. That's how it becomes a product.
Yeah.
So all these are possible. I just showed you very limited version of it. So if there are multiple years, you could have shown it like this, right? There is a you can see it, right? But we restricted to 2019. So you can change the sheet if you want. Just a second. Stop share. And then you change the filter, you get multiple years, then map also changes. Right. That way you can, there are many more options left when you do it. So two things are required for this. One is Excel and another is Tableau.
Right. So I don't think there are any questions here. Only people are, of course, amazed by the information that we have received. New concepts never heard of first time, and authentic data, you should know where to look for it and all. So yes.
Similarly, you get spelling Tableau is wrong. It is EU, I guess.
Yeah.
EAU.
LEAU.
LEAU.
Yeah.
Tableau. So that procedure, once again, I show you how to get it. Just a second. I'll share the screen. It is Tableau public. Can you see it?
Yes.
EABLEAU Tableau public.
You can download the app actually on our PC. I did.
Then you can download it again. And you can make this kind of graphs, which is shown. That means when you have multiple years, you can make an interactive graph like this, 62. You can see it here, right? I didn't show it. 70, 70, 87, and 92, 90, like that. That's not possible with a typical statistical software, SPSS, for example, or Stata. But you can easily do it here. That's the difference between analytics and statistics, fundamentally. So, would you like to be part of analytics revolution? This is one step.
We have some participants are asking for a separate session on Tableau. I really hope that we would be able to get some more time from you. I think we're just left with 5 minutes. So if there are no more questions, Leji ma'am, can we have the vote of thanks then? Is there any other question? So there is one question: farmers and climate change.
Okay.
Who to search or where to search that data?
Oh yeah.
He was asking it earlier also.
Yeah.
Farmers and climate change, there is ample data. I will tell you another thing. If you want data, unlimited data on anything, you go to something called GitHub, GitHub. You heard of it?
No. So could you put it in the chat?
Yeah, GitHub. Just a second. I'll put it in chat box. GitHub. You got it? GitHub.
Okay.
So GitHub will provide you ample information on anything, because people make data sets, they save it there. And if you want challenging data which can be explained to students, you can visit Kaggle.
So this is specific to what, sir?
Anything. I think it contains data on anything.
Oh,
The more GitHub, you can search again. Within it, you get data on climate or business, be it on anything. It's there.
so on particular demographics also we'll get
Yeah,
the
yeah,
data on this?
yeah. Then these data would be in CSV format. Okay. This you can read it in Tableau after cleaning it. If you don't clean it, then there will be a problem. For example, first line should be variables, but the second, if first line doesn't start with variable, something else, then variable, you have to clean it, because Tableau identifies only variables. So that kind of cleaning is needed. Then you have to use filter, and of course I couldn't show you everything. This is just a prelude.
Tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg.
Is it the same as Smart PLS?
No, it is different. It is different. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We'll, of course, we can have more engaging discussion later.
Yes, sir, if you permit, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Utkarsh Kapadia to give a formal vote of thanks.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kalpana ma'am. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks to Professor Binu Paul. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and delivering such an insightful session. Sir, you not only provided in-depth knowledge about the topic, but you also demonstrated its practical implementation in real time. I am sure all the participants have gained immensely from the session. I would also like to thank our benevolent management for always supporting such initiatives taken by the college. I would like to thank Principal Dr. Sridhara Shetty for promoting and being supportive of such research-based workshops. I would like to thank Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Liji Santosh, for organizing this workshop for the benefit of academicians in research arena. I would like to thank Vice Principal Professor Sandesha Shetty for his constant support in organizing this workshop.
Thank you.
Utkarsh, sir, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah. Just got a call, sir. I'm grateful to the organizing and technical team for their constant assistance in the execution and implementation of the entire program. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank all the participants for being a receptive audience throughout the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Utkarsh, sir.
So I think we should meet offline and have
Okay.
sessions.
Right. So let me leave. Thank you.
Thank you
for
so
this
Thank you,
much
sir.
for your time. Thank you.
And of course, it was very inadequate time-wise, but of course, I thought this introduced participants to a new world with a lot of confusion.
Yes.
It's very preliminary at this stage, but some change is always required. I think this is what is going to shape up in years to come. Of course, this exists with a lot of confusion at this moment. Maybe it will develop in future. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.